From the nation's capital, Monrovia, a pleasant good evening and welcome to King's News Broom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one world. I'm Stephen Compton. First, the headline. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission clears former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, now Margibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill, of payroll pardon allegations. A certificate of clearance discloses closure of the case. National Lottery Authority announces destruction of over 100 illegal children gambling machines in and around Monrovia. NLA Director General Peter Solo expresses the entity's preparedness in calm down illegal gambling. Reporters Association of Liberia Election Committee urges reporters to submit personal information for participation in the association's upcoming elective congress. None of the home front, beside Israel's northern border fence, the burst of machines gun fired from inside Lebanon allowed and long as new Israeli forces push into take strategic position near the border. And elsewhere, a Nigerian senator has told the BBC that massive numbers of civilians were killed by armed men who attacked their village in Borno State on Wednesday, although he did not have the precise figure. Details of these developments, the news bulletin, and the actual voices of the news makers are all packaged. We are taking a very short break to be right back. Thanks for being there. Let's now cross over to the news center, the Johnson Andrews, for the bulletin of news.
At long last, the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission has officially cleared Margibi County Senator Nathaniel McGill of allegations of payroll pardon when he served as Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. The Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, in its certificate of clearance issued, announced its investigations have established that the former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs did not carry out payroll pardon between 2018 and 2023, as was previously alleged by the United Party government. The Anti-Graft Institution document also referenced case number 10521, which states that after a thorough review and examination of available facts and evidence, the Commission found no probable cause to pursue criminal proceedings against the senator. According to the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, as a result, its findings, no charges have been filed and the case has been closed. The clearance certificate signed by LACC Executive Chairperson Councillor Alexandra Zoe was issued February 3rd this year. At the same time, the Commission has clarified that the clearance was issued strictly based on its investigative findings, adding it should not be interpreted as an endorsement beyond the scope of the inquiry conducted. The National Lottery Authority has reportedly destroyed over 100 illegal gambling machines seized from what it calls illegal operators in Monrovia and its environs. The authority also warned others engaged in children gambling to stop. NLA Director General Peter Solo disclosed that the machines were seized 2 weeks ago from several businesses. He added that the entity is on the watch for more seizure of illicit gambling machines. Mr. Solo, who spoke at a press conference in Congo Town Friday, said that seizure of the gambling machines followed public outcry regarding children abandoning schools purposely for illegal gambling. According to him, the destruction of the estimated 100 gambling machines should serve as a signal that the National Lottery Authority would not take illicit gambling, especially among minors, for granted. The Elections Committee of the Reporters Association of Liberia has urged all reporters across the country to make maximum use of the ongoing voter registration for the upcoming elective Congress. A press statement issued under the signature of the committee secretary general and chairman Frank Martin called on reporters who are yet to do their process to submit their information, including a photo of their valid working ID card sets and county of assignment. The statement added that voter registration process must be completed individually, adding that no candidate, aspirant, institution, or organization is permitted to register a voter on behalf of another person. The Reporters Association of Liberia Elections Committee warned that any attempt to do so will lead to disqualification, as such registration would not be honored in the electoral process. Thousands of women across the country have joined the wall at large in the celebration of International Women's Day. This year's celebration of International Women's Day was celebrated under the global theme Rights, Justice, and Action for All Women and Girls. Different women groups globally have renewed calls for gender equality, women empowerment, and campaign against gender-based violence. In Liberia, an elaborate celebration was organized by the government through the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection, an event that took place at the Samuel Kando Sports Complex in Painesville. The global theme of this year's International Women's Day emphasizes a need for equal justice, dismantling structural barriers, and promoting inclusive legal systems to ensure women's rights are protected and enforced. Liberia remains largely affected with gender-based violence, inadequate women representation in national decision-making, and violation of women and children's rights across various sectors. The Minister of National Defense, Geraldine George, has reaffirmed the ministry's commitment in working with the Gender Ministry and combating violence against women in the country. According to Minister George, women's role in every society is crucial or critical for peace, stability, and peaceful coexistence amongst various segments. She made the remarks when hundreds of women from different parts of the country Friday converged at the Samarkand Sports Complex to celebrate this year's International Women's Day. The celebration, organized by the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection, was held under the theme Give to Gain, Support Women for National Development. The defense minister, who served as the keynote speaker, outlined the importance of women, full protection, and opportunity to contribute to national development. In a related development, President Boaga has described Liberian women as the cream of society and vital pillars of national development. Speaking Friday at a ceremony marking the celebration of International Women's Day by a cross-section of Liberian women, President Boaga highlighted their resilience, leadership, and invaluable contributions to the peace and stability of Liberia. According to President Boaga, women across the country have consistently demonstrated unwavering commitment to the promotion of peace, social cohesion, and effective national leadership. He further noted that his administration remains determined to work closely with women across all sectors of national life to create a professional and respectful environment that supports their continued contributions to the development of Liberia. The Liberian president at the same time commended the nation's women for what he termed their determination, emphasizing that they have historically played pivotal roles in advancing peace, strengthening national unity, and promoting community development. Several marketers at Omega Market in Red Light are calling for the government's intervention in the immediate removal of huge stockpile of garbage in the area. Speaking to reporters Friday, the traders described the open disposal of garbage as harmful and threatens health of everyone found in that area. They added, although they are paying daily sanitation fees to the Liberia Marketing Association, the association has demonstrated inability to properly manage the waste. The marketers warned the leadership of the Liberia Marketing Association against threatening and harassing traders who are advocating for a safe and clean environment in the market. They also accused the Liberia Marketing Association leadership of bringing upon them extra expenses, something they described as exploitation. A newly released historical documentary has presented a circumstance that led to the assassination of late President William R. Talbot in the 1980 military coup by the People's Redemption Council. Following the 1980 bloody coup led by Master Sergeant Samuel Kayando and 16 other enlisted soldiers, 13 officials were tried by a military tribunal and executed on April 22nd the same year. A Liberian documentary film producer, Jerry Buckley, has released an award-winning documentary, and it is said to be hitting the silver screens around the world. Front Page Africa editor Gerald Konyanen has the opportunity and was provided a bird-eye view of the documentary, which was just premiered in Johannesburg, South Africa. Former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf says despite the excruciating circumstances, she did extremely well during her 12 years at the Liberian presidency. She noted that she served the country with dedication and honesty, adding she owed no apology to anybody for anything. The former president, who spoke before members of the House of Representatives Thursday, also made several recommendations to the lawmakers, including amending Chapter 4, Article 72B of the Liberian Constitution. Former President Sirleaf also expressed concern about the liberalization policy, noting that there have been several policies and actions of the past that restricted certain areas of business to Liberians, but such policies are being respected today. She further noted that it is observed that certain non-citizens have taken over critical areas of site on beaches and waterways to enable them extract valuable materials or minerals, thereby causing serious environmental hazard. Liberia Council of Churches former president Bishop Kotu Brown has called on the national legislature to take siege of the mass displacement created by government's demolition of homes in Monrovia and its environs. The general overseer of the Apostolic Pentecostal Church International said the legislature intervention is important and will stop suffering experienced by ordinary Liberians who have lost their homes and businesses as a result of the demolition. Bishop Brown, during a press conference in Broadview Thursday, also challenged President Bwaka to use executive power in curbing the suffering of homeless citizens. He added there is a need for the government to be compassionate in enforcing the ruling of the courts when it comes to evicting people, noting that findings means of relocating affected people should be the first concern of the government. And the Liberian government, in collaboration with the African Development Bank, has launched a new research and analytical exercise aimed at strengthening governance and increasing revenue from the country's mining and natural resource sectors. Speaking at the launch, Deputy Finance Minister for Fiscal Affairs Anthony Myers disclosed that the initiative, which is saying developed by the government and the African Development Bank, will enhance domestic resource mobilization and assist with technical expertise in the tax sector. Minister Myers added that the project seeks to maximize revenue from Liberia's mining sector and other strategic natural resource areas and will improve governance and reduce revenue leakages within the system. He further claimed the exercise is set to focus on promoting evidence-based policy reforms, ensuring that government regulations, policies, and proposed laws are backed by strong research and data before they are implemented.
I'd like to say many thanks to Sam Andrews for the bulletin of news. Is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one globe. And one of our top developments this evening, Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission clears a former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, now Margibi County Senator Nathaniel Mangill of Peru pardon allegation. A certificate of clearance discloses closure of the case. We are taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you voices of the news makers. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Up now to our first development. President Joseph Boakai has described Liberian women as the cream of society and vital pillars of national development. Speaking on Friday at a ceremony marking the celebration of International Women's Day by a cross section of Liberian women, President Boakai highlighted their resilience, leadership, and invaluable contribution to the peace and stability of the country. According to him, women across the nation have consistently demonstrated unwavering commitment to the promotion of peace, societal cohesion, and effective national leadership.
On behalf of all the men of this country, we want to wish you people, the women, the cream of this society, want to wish you a very, very happy International Women's Day. I know the last time we celebrated, maybe there was in Cote d'Ivoire. We just want to wish you well, and let me assure you, we have a lot of confidence in you, and we look forward to working with you to make sure that you feel competitive, you feel respected in whatever you do, because we are doing it openly to show the world that we have able, capable women to serve this country. Congratulations to you. Thank you.
Liberian President Joseph Boakai there remarking the celebration of the International Women's Day. The National Lottery Authority has reportedly destroyed over 100 illegal gambling machines seized for what it called illegal operators in Morovia and its environs. The authority also warned others engaged in child gambling to stop. NLA Director General Peter Solo disclosed that the machines were seized 2 weeks ago from several business centers.
Based on numerous complaints from our community, we effected the eradication of the many slot machines all over the length and breadth of Liberia. We started to the operators to a meeting. We have a little over 6 operators in Liberia. We inputters and operators. We started them to a meeting. We issue a suspension of the operation of the mini slot machine. Primarily, they have consistently refused to adhere to the regulation governing this equipment. That regulation is that this equipment should not be used by underage children. Should not operate this equipment. We have started them to a number of our meetings on this. We reinforce our regulatory notification to them. They have not adhered to those regulations. So we reached a consensus with the two of the board to issue a suspension. And that suspension is still in effect. We have apprehended over 100 machines, 100 of these equipment. They are here. Under the direct stewardship of my deputy for operation, brought into Monrovia and the environs of Monrovia. Over 100 of these equipment were confiscated by us. Today, we have decided to set a precedent to one of the illegal operators. We'll destroy these equipment because of 2 reasons. Regulatory aspect is there. When you breach the regulation, there are consequences. Beyond those consequences today, we'll destroy these equipment because an operator, Tom Lee, withdrew from operation a year ago. We went into Lofa County and we were stoned to discover that Tom Lee is operating in Lofa illegally without a license. They are also permitting the underage to operate it. So we brought the equipment here and we're going to destroy them. We want the public to be informed of this violation and for the public to know that we are going beyond the length and breadth of Monrovia to apprehend these illegal operators and they will be brought to book.
NLA Director General Peter Solo there speaking. The Minister of National Defense, Geraldine George, has reaffirmed the Defense Ministry's commitment in working with the General Ministry and combating violence against women in the country. According to Minister George, women's role in every society is critical for peace, stability, and peaceful coexistence among various segments in the society. She made the remarks when hundreds of women from different parts of the country on Friday gathered at the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex to celebrate the International Women's Day.
The Ministry of National Defense stands friendly with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection in combating all forms of violence against girls. We will continue to support awareness campaign, strengthen our gender-based training, ensure that our soldiers serve as protectors and not perpetrators of safety and dignity. Liberia's future depends on full participation of women in decision making, whether in government, private sector, or security apparatus. We must create pathways for women to lead. We must invest in girls' education, especially in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We must support women entrepreneurs, farmers, and innovators. We must ensure that women voices shape our policies, our peace, and our progress. A nation that empowers its women is a nation that accelerates its development. As we celebrate today, let us also commit ourselves to action, to build institutions that respect and protect women, to raise boys who value equity and reject violence, to create opportunities that allow women to rise with all barriers, and to ensure that no woman or girl is left behind. This is not the responsibility of the government alone. It is the responsibility of every Liberian, men and women alike. On this International Day, let us honor the women who have carried Liberia through its most difficult moment. Let us celebrate the women who continue to build our nation with strength and grace. Let us pledge to create a future where every woman and girl can live free, dream boldly, and achieve her fullest potential. To the women of Liberia, your courage inspires us, your resilience strengthens us, your leadership moves us forward.
Minister of National Defense Geraldine Josh there speaking. And up to this development, a newly released historical documentary has presented circumstances that led to the assassination of late President William R. Tolbert in the 1980 military coup by the People's Redemption Council, following the 1980 bloody coup led by Master Sergeant Samuel Kanyando and 16 other enlisted soldiers. 13 officials were tried by a military tribunal and executed on April 22 the same year. A Liberian documentary film producer, Gerard Barkley, has released an award-winning documentary, and it is said to be hitting the silver screens and around the world. From Page Africa editor, Gerard Konyanen has the opportunity and was provided a bird's-eye view of the documentary, which was just premiered in Johannesburg, South Africa.
Liberia's turbulent political past is returning to the spotlight through a new documentary by the award-winning filmmaker Gerald K. Barkley. The film, titled The Assassination of William R. Tolbert Jr., The Reshaping of a Country's Destiny, revisits one of the most dramatic moments in the country's history, the assassination of President William Ricky Tolbert Jr. during the military coup of April 12, 1980. The documentary takes viewers back 45 years when enlisted soldiers of the Armed Forces of Liberia stormed the executive mansion and in more than a century of American Liberian political dominance. Just 10 days later, 13 senior officials of the Tolbert administration were executed by a firing squad and buried alongside the slain president in a mass grave at Pangrove Cemetery in Monrovia. Today, that painful chapter is remembered through a national memorial dedicated by President Joseph Boakai in 2025, a symbol of reconciliation and reflection. Barclay's film goes deeper, examining Torbert's reform agenda, the growing political tensions of the late 1970s, and the events that changed Liberia's political trajectory. The documentary features rare perspectives from key witnesses to history, including former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, historian Dr. Elwood Dunn, Ambassador Ned Dukle Torbert, and Richard V. Torbert, nephew of the late president. The president's special envoy for culture and heritage diplomacy, Ambassador Lorenzo Witherspoon, praised the authenticity of the movie.
You ticked all the boxes, and I think you didn't resist being, telling it like it is, putting it in the hard knocks, that's it.
Known internationally as GB, Barclay has directed projects involving global artists such as Wonton Chan, Snoop Dogg, and Master P, while also producing films exploring Liberia's history and culture. With the assassination of William R. Torbert Jr., the reshaping of a country's destiny, Barclays hopes to spark national reflection on a defining moment in Liberia's past and encourage dialogue about the future. For many viewers of the premiere, it was simply a brilliant display of a Liberian story.
It was brilliant. Excellent.
Very powerful.
This was amazing. The footage, the selection of footage was amazing.
Authentic. It was raw. It was amazing. I loved him.
I want to thank you very much for helping me.
Gerald Kwanyine, Front Page Africa.
And up to this next development, several marketers at the Omeka market in red light are calling for the government's intervention for the immediate removal of the huge stockpile of garbage in the area. Speaking to reporters on Friday, the traders described the open disposal of garbage as harmful and threatened their health. They added that although they are paying daily sanitation fees to the Liberian Marketing Association, the association has demonstrated inability to properly manage their waste.
Remove him in the market. He removed him I don't want to see that who fought for you, Jeremy. I fought for you. Jonathan and Naha, who I fought for you, that shall have been a penalty, Jeremy.
So you will come after we sell, and he will be the clinic. What dear bread, you put pepper down, you put a hand to you. You put it out down, you put a hand to
you. mean the pepper? If the pepper you put out, you pull a hand, you give it. If you have what you pull a hand, you give it to him.
And when you don't sell it, you just say,
okay.
Now when you finish getting it, the 2% come, pay off.
Okay.
Friday, I will pay the 200 for the profit support. Saturday, you pay the 200 for security.
I'm for a business. Oh,
you mean the reburial? They came to you guys to collect 500.
Who came to you? Who
this was?
So you guys pay? You're paid.
Okay.
So I was confused when the people in there to honestly in there that they're not responsible for taking away garbage. But now we're doing not for me, I'm doing $90 a week for garbage.
Garbage fee?
Yeah.
Every week?
Every week.
$90.
Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Voices of marketers at the Omeka market there. Now we've have an hour past the news presentation. There's a reminder. Listening to the Friday, March 6, 2026 edition of King's News Broom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and elsewhere. We are taking a very short break. To be right back. Welcome back. Today's development. Former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf says, despite intense circumstances, she did extremely well during her 12 years of the Liberian presidency. She noted that she served the country with dedication and honesty, adding that she owed no one apologies to anybody.
I know that there will be many who applaud this initiative, and there will be many others who may question it. I also know that some will say, in our usual Liberian way, she served for 12 years. Why didn't she do all these things? Let me say in response to that, and in closing, that I did my best under the extenuating circumstances and conditions that we all know so very well. I served my country with dedication and with honesty. I therefore make no apology to anybody or anything. And I make no claim. My record stands by me, and history will be the judge.
The former Liberian president, who also spoke before members of the House of Representatives Thursday, also made several recommendations through the lawmakers, including amending Chapter 4, Article 27B of the Liberian Constitution. Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf also expressed concern about the liberalization policy, noting that there have been several policy and actions of the past that restricted certain areas of business to Liberians, but such policies are being respected today.
First comment has to do with Article 27B of our Constitution that says, I quote, in order to preserve, foster, and maintain the positive Liberian culture, values, and character, only persons who are Negroes or of Negro descent shall qualify by birth or by naturalization to be citizens of Liberia, unquote. Mr. Speaker, Liberia today is above where we were on our independence in 1847. Therefore, we must now make those structural changes that propel us to join emerging African countries that have left us behind. As you may recall, we tried in the past to do constitutional reform. Former interim president, Dr. Amos Sawyer, led the committee that made tremendous progress, but that racist provision was left intact. My plea now is that you consider the necessary amendment to Chapter 4, Article 27B of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Legislator, My second comment has to do with land. This issue is causing serious problems in the country.
Former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf there speaking. And now to this development, thousands of Liberian women across the country have joined the Water Light in celebration of International Women's Day. This year's International Women's Day is celebrated on the global theme, Right, Justice, and Action for All Women and Girls. Different women groups globally have renewed calls for gender equality, women empowerment, and campaign against gender-based violence. In Liberia, an elaborate celebration is organized by the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Gender, Children, and Social Protection, an event that took place at the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex in Painesville. Let's now get a highlight of the occasion. A highlight there from the celebration of the International Women's Day by Liberian women. Liberia Council of Churches former President Bishop Broom has called on the national legislature to seize of the taxes of the mass displacement created by government's demolition of homes in Monrovia and its environs. The general overseer of the Apostolic Pentecostal Church International said the legislature's intervention is important, something he believed will stop suffering being experienced by ordinary Liberians who have lost their businesses as the result of the demolition.
Somebody been living somewhere 60 years, and somebody come and say, you got what, monarchy? I think the government needs to see all of this as a serious security issue and address it. I don't think it's in the interest of the country if it's provocation or if it's whatever sinister. I think it's something that we shouldn't take for granted. It's unacceptable. After all these years, you got 180 acres somewhere and by the main road, and you know nothing about it, and people, build their houses, and they're trying to make way for the living. We don't hope for chaos. Liberians see enough. We're seeing chaos. We don't need any more chaos. That's why the government needs to be sensitive. The government needs to calculate well. It's not everything that is necessary is expedient. And this person got 500 acres this way, or got 200 acres this way. The government has to be compassionate. The Liberians who voted for Joseph Boakai's government expect that this government will be compassionate. Sometimes you temper justice with mercy. And we're not saying people should not respect the law. We're not saying people should disregard the law. But there are instances for where somebody's building a house and lives for 40 years. And somebody just come and they break it down. Somebody may be in breach of the law, but there are other ways that the state can come in and help ordinary Liberians to be able to, the government can engage. We encourage the government to engage. Encourage the government to use all the tools available to it to be able to resolve this issue. We encourage the government to help ensure that we don't have insecurity in our country, that people don't get desperate about all of this, and that this will remain peaceful and secure. We encourage the government of Liberia to do whatever is possible. Some of those people need to be relocated. The government got eminent domain power. They can relocate them. Government can find land somewhere and give other people. Other people who are affected or more wicked, but we got to find a way to show our citizens of compassion. I think it's a bad legacy for President Boakai if he doesn't uphold the rule of law. For someone who's still all his life in government, I think it's on him to ensure that he can uphold the rule of law.
The government of Liberia, in collaboration with the African Development Bank, has launched a new research and analytical exercise aimed at strengthening governance and increasing revenue from the country's mining and natural resource sectors. Speaking at the launch, Deputy Finance Minister for Fiscal Affairs Anthony Myers disclosed that the initiative, which is a same developed by the government and AFDB, will enhance domestic resources mobilization and assistance with technical expertise in the tax sector.
Now we are here today to launch a research and analytical exercise to support that project. And as the title says, evidence-based policy reforms. We in government, especially like the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, we routinely, on a regular basis, issue regulations. We raise bills and send it to the legislature to be enacted into law. We issue policy statements. In order to implement those policies, or to even have the basis for issuing regulations, for undertaking reforms, or introducing legislations, you should be sure that those measures will have the needed impacts. And in order to be sure that policies and laws and reforms will have impact, you have to have evidence. What are the key players in the sector? What are they doing? What are their issues? What are they concerned about? What sort of measure will they be more responsive to? And which one you may face compliance challenges. The methodology for this research was carefully selected based on the issues that we identified. The selection of the research team, we were clear that we either rely on experts from Africa who have done similar research, or if they are external experts, be they Korean or others, they should be people who have experience doing similar work in Africa. And our team leader from the KRPF, we had a short meeting with him this morning when they had an introductory meeting with the minister, and he indicated that he had prior experience in about 10 other African countries, though he's Korean. So he brings about his academic background, the fact that he is an expert academic and practical expert in taxation, but he also has practical research experience in Africa.
And now, away from Liberia, beside Israel's northern border fence, the bullets of machine guns fired from inside Lebanon are loud and long as new Israeli forces pushed in to take strategic position near the border. The regular rumble of aircraft echoes over the shattered remains of Shad that she destroyed during Israel's last ground war there in 2024. A senior military official said on Thursday that Israeli ground forces were taking additional hilltops inside Lebanon, a defensive position he said to be better to protect Israel's northern communities. And elsewhere, a Nigerian senior official, the senator has told the BBC that massive numbers of civilians were killed by armed men who attacked their village in Borno state on Wednesday. Although he did not have the precise figure, the number of people killed actually is very massive, but we do not know the exact number because relayed on the information from the chairman of local government and local there said the Nigerian lawmaker Muhammad Ali Nomin of the attack in the remote village of Nogoshi. Nogoshi is a mainly Muslim community, and the attack reportedly took place in the evening while many people were breaking their Ramadan fast. The BBC has contacted the Nigerian military for comment. Well, this is how we got on today's edition of the news program. But before we take leave of you, reminder of top stories, we close the follow. Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission clears a former Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, now Margibi County Senator Nathaniel Mangeu, of pay road pardon allegation. A certificate of clearance discloses closure of the case. National Lottery Authority announces destruction of over 100 illegal children gambling machines in and around Monrovia. And LA Director General Peter Salot expresses the entity's preparedness in clampdown illegal gambling. Reporters Association Liberia Election Committee urges reporters to submit President information for participation in the association upcoming elective Congress. And away from Liberia, beside Israel's northern border fence, a burst of machine guns fired from inside Lebanon are loud and long as new Israeli forces pushed into a strategic position near the border. That's why a Nigerian senator told the BBC that massive numbers of civilians were killed by armed men who attacked the village in Borno State on Wednesday, although he did not have the precise figure. Well, on this note, I'd like to say many thanks to our reporters and editors for making today's news presentation our success. Sam Andrews was here with the news bulletin. Newton Tokwa, Sarah Control, and ably coordinated the sound. Lodina and Elliot control the camera. I'm Stephen Compton. Thanks for listening and watching.